For listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Patricia Mary, and for the next hour, I will be reading from the December 13th, 14th issue of Off Duty from the Wall Street Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. From the front page of Off Duty, Interior Design, What's in and out for 2026, according to hundreds of pros. We ask designers what's trending and ending based on clients' request. The expert's verdict: so long, quiet minimalism, and smart everything. Hello, Art Deco Glam and Rotary Phones, and this is by Sarah Konarowitz. Out is Moody Blues. Rooms drenched in dusky shades have enjoyed a stretch of popularity, but Los Angeles kitchen designer Karen Rideau expects that in 2026 we'll say goodbye to the dominance of navy blue and welcome vibrant new hues into our homes. Sunny shades are in. Los Angeles designer Peter Durham praised the rise of earthy yellows and sunny colors. Bethany Gale, design director at Stonehill Taylor in New York City, similarly flagged golden tones that mimic the warmth of nature. Rideau adds that these hues bring optimism and energy to interiors. The smart everything is out. One big complaint I hear from clients is they just want to be able to turn a switch, says Christine Gashot, co-principal of New York's Gashot Design Studio. She's not surprised. In ways, it's a response to our constant connection to devices. Human interaction is making a comeback. Analog elements are in. Expect a return to old-fashioned household items that evoke simpler times like vintage landline phones, says interior designer Lauren Corn of Birmingham, Alabama. Other dumb, which they put in quotation mark, accessories on the rise is analog stereos and vintage wooden tools. What is out is open windows. The no-curtain look of bare industrial-style windows and hard shade lines, once prized for refreshing simplicity, has begun to feel cold, especially in open, modern homes, says designer Lindsay of Aragora Hills, California. What is in is bamboo dreams, suddenly popping up everywhere. Bamboo clink blinds, and from designer Carrie Ray, the low-maintenance window treatment adds warmth and a sense of layers. Larchmont, New York designer Lauren Stern, who just installed them in her own living room, call it textural and less stuffy. Out are sterile surfaces. When it comes to kitchen and bathroom finishes, including tiles and backsplashes, the clean, minimal look has fallen from favor. Jess and Jonathan Nahon of the New York City firm Sugar House are seeing fewer requests for one-note options like Safeway, Subway tile, and uniform neutrals. In is a statement tile. More clients want tile with color and character, hand-painted motifs, unexpected colors, and even irregular edges, says the Nahons. In general, we're craving a break from machine-cut edges and finishes, says Stern. Out is California minimalism. The quiet luxury shorthand of all white rooms, pale wood, and whispery palettes is losing momentum, noted pros like Sarah Eckberry of Los Angeles. Toronto designer Cynthia Ferguson concurred. We're seeing the end of several design staples that once defined a certain minimalistic California clean look. What is in is vintage glam. Expect a big year for early 20th century styles like Vienna Sensationist and Art Deco. Elements of that is reflected in it mark a centennial of the Art Deco movement. Look for a return to glamour and confidence, an exuberant contrast to the natural restraint that has defined the past decade. Out is manufactured materials. Plasticky performance finishes and man-made materials have had their moment, proclaimed pros like Kelsey Matas of New York City, who cited a move away from sterile perfection. Emily Del Bello, also of New York, agreed. Finishes like lucite that once felt sleek now read as outdated. What is in is cork chic. Designers like Danielle Caprut of Rockville Center, New York, reported a shift in clients' requests towards natural, tactile materials, especially with wall coverings. Heather Peterson of Minneapolis says cork walls epitomize the trend. The key word I keep hearing is warm. And what's warmer than cork? It has an all over movement and goes on without visible seams. The out is bashed LEDs. It's time to bid farewell to glitzy, overscaled, hotel style fixtures. Generic LED rings and long arm lights now read ubiquitous rather than iconic, says Mark Schubert of Chicago's M2 Design Lab. It's time to forget stark white LEDs, says Zoe, a Washington, D.C. designer. What's in is jewelry lighting. More is more. Murano glass lights, both new and vintage, are having a major movement right now, says Atlantic designer Jared Hughes. Feldman calls the trend jewelry lighting, thinking functional, but also adornment. Splashy stone is out. The statement marble kitchen is bowing out, says Los Angeles designer Catherine Ireland. Flashy backsplashes and waterfall edge islands in particular are losing ground. Xavier Donald, creative director at Ash, says that matte surfaces like honed marble can feel, for lack of a better word, flat. Tinny kitchens. The pros agree. In 2026, kitchens will go heavy on gleaming metals, and they are saying countertops fabricated from copper, zinc, or stainless steel. Bonus points for integral sinks that add a seamless transition between surface and appliances. Another article from the design page, holiday stockings to suit every style, with stuffers to match. Whether you or your giftie's aesthetic leans traditional, high-tech, organic, or modern, we've got you covered. And again, this is by Sarah Conowitz. In a season stuffed with garish candy canes and cartoon elves, it can be tricky for discerning shoppers to find the right stocking to complete their holiday vibe. We are here to help. We zeroed in on 4 holiday aesthetic. Sorry if you insist on carton everything and choose a handsome stocking for each. And after some hearty swigs of fortified eggnog, we went the extra mile and chopped out a selection of stocking stuffers that suit each stocking's aesthetic. But feel free to mix or match because we know at least one techie who'd love that unicorn puzzle. For the traditional, we see a beautiful velvet red stocking embossed with seed pearls and embroidery. And we see a unicorn puzzle and a soap. Clockwise are Sudan red Aswani velvet stocking which sells for $77 at Christmas in America. Then we have the Birdie Hall soaps, 36 at Reed Smythe and Company. We have a festive bone china ornament, $80 at Nordstrom, and a $10 unicorn in a garden greeting card puzzle. For the organic person in your life, we see a plain linen stocking, and it's the liquid linen rustic linen Christmas stocking, which sells for $55. And we have wax Japanese candles in earth colors, which is $23. And we have a tea winter solstice collection, which is $55. And then we have a biodegradable dishcloth, which is $7 at the Boston General Store. For the high tech person, we have a chain metal Christmas stocking, which is a little pricey at $119. We have a Bluetooth keyboard, $35 at Amazon. We have a Therabody sleep mask, and we have a leather charger roll-up, all for the modern techie in your life. For just the plain old modern person, we have a modern patchwork embroidered holiday stocking. We have a miniature Series 7 chair. We have unicorn socks, and we have an art of playing games kite playing cards. And that is for your basic modern person. And the stocking is checked in green and blue and red and white. Enjoy your shopping for your holiday person. From the fashion page, 5 ways to style a suit so you don't look like a corporate drone. A crisp white shirt with a suit? Boring. A man's guide to cool, fresh ways to wear a suit that's festive this season and into 2026. And this is by the Wall Street Journal Off Duty Fashion Team. Styling a suit with a crisp white shirt is a fail-safe move, but it's often reads corporate square. To come off cooler and breezier in 2026, a pair suits with Henleys, unexpected knitwear, or button-downs in shades that match the tailoring. Done right, you'll look neither stuffy nor sloppy. The relaxed suit sweet spot. Here are 5 fresh moves. Add a layer and undo buttons. Our first look comes off as a little youthful and great news. Most guys will already have the ingredients in their closet. Start with a ribbed tank or a thin white cotton tee underneath a button-down shirt. Literally undo the shirt buttons. Just leave the bottom 2 or 3 fastened. Tuck both shirts into the pants. A subtle western belt finishes off the look. This just out of bed styling works equally well with a casual single-breasted suit or a double-breasted one, worn the modern way. Swap in a Henley. The Henley, that old school manly staple, has roared back into fashion lately. Though typically worn in the most casual settings, Henleys work surprisingly well under tailoring. Consider this a more rugged, less chic alternative to a white tee under a suit. Choose a shirt that's not over flimsy. You don't want the unbuttoned placket flopping like a overcooked noodle under the blazer. Here we've gone for a ribbed version in white, though a color that matches the suit will also do the job. Reach for a chill 3-piece. Sure, 3-piece suits call to mind jittery grooms and stilted royals, but matching vests and suits don't have to be the whole thing. The best casual take delivers a hit of the unexpected without appearing overly fussy. We have a navy wool combo from California Art and an up and coming brand, skews minimalist thanks to the vest hidden buttons. You could wear the vest with other navy suits provided the fabrics are similar. To relax the look, slip a tee underneath and a pendant necklace on top. No ties seen. Match the shades. Tone on tone dressing is a foolproof way to elevate your menswear outfit, including tailoring. Because no one needs an eye full of orange or royal blue, stick to shirts and suits in muted shades: gray, navy, brown. The shirt needn't match the suit exactly, just keep it in the same color family. Try a textured button down, and all you can also wear wool or flannel so that monochrome outfit doesn't fall flat. Play with knitwear. Fine knitwear is the ideal smart casual suit accompaniment. Look for a luxury zip sweater, a thin turtleneck, or a Murano polo. All read easy yet pulled together. Overachievers wanting oof could layer the turtleneck under the polo. Keep the knitwear items in the same neutral shades for a cohesive feel, and stick to fine Murano designs to avoid overheating. We've chosen navy to make the pale pink tailoring pop. You are listening to the reading of articles and features from Off Duty from the Wall Street Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Other article from the fashion page: a no-nonsense guide to holiday party dressing in 2025. The co-founder of Paperless Post, founding editor of Lucky Magazine, and more stylish women on how to pull together festive styles without trying too hard. And this is by Lauren Metchling. The holiday social season is one big invitation to bring a little extra to your ensemble. But if you aren't careful with the tartan and tinsel, it's easy to look like a walking punchline as you slide up to the punch bowl. Comfort can also quickly lose out, especially if you default to last year's scratchy sequin dress you swore you would never see another midnight countdown. Ready to cut through the noise to create a no-nonsense party outfit? We've asked 6 stylish, feet-loving women for their advice on mastering the delicate art of dressing for the reveille ahead. I don't have a closet full of holiday frocks, and feeling overwhelmed. Give me some simple ground rules. First off, you needn't start from scratch or go on a spending spree. There's nothing wrong with touting out a favorite party piece to multiple events, especially when the guest lists don't overlap, says Lisa Lucas, an art administrator in Brooklyn. Investing in one special top or bottom rather than a dress makes it easier to mix and match to create more outfits. Second, consider accessories your power players. A well placed belt or a bauble can work wonders. Lucas is a fan of inexpensive costume necklaces from J. Crew. In a pinch, Melissa Bentino, the Miami-based founder of Pilates company Frame Fitness, says she grabs a bolo tie-like velvet bow that can transform anything into a holiday outfit. How do I wear traditional holiday fabrics like sequins or taffeta without looking like I'm trying too hard? The key is to balance these big personality fabrics with more neutral, grown up pieces that feel like your own style, says Kim France, the founding editor of Lucky Magazine, who now writes a substack called Girls of a Certain Age. France suggests turning to the pros. Look online at how your favorite designers are using their materials in elevated, subtle ways. Another tip: sometimes it helps to embrace holiday cliche. Benvenuto says she lets the color red do the heavy lifting, wearing the classic shade in big swatches like a pants or a dress. I like getting dolled up, but not at the expense of the snacking opportunities. What do I wear if I plan on going for seconds? That's what pull-on party pants are for, says Andrea Whittle, editorial director at online retailer Moda Operandi. Luckily, we're in a golden age of them. For a fail-proof outfit formula, anchor eye-catching sequence, brocade or feather accentuated elastic waist pants with a crisp white or black button-up shirt. Shoes always seem to give me trouble. How do I look glamorous when I have to brave the snow to get to a party? You don't want to arrive at a bash with frozen or worse, wet toes. Alexa Hirschfeld, co-founder of Paperless Post, suggests stashing party-ready shoes in your purse and donning slip-on boots for the commute. You don't want to be clogging up the entryway while you struggle with your laces, she says. Not a fan of a shoe switcho, plan to elegantly ditch them on arrival and simply go sans, says Whittle. She prefers to swam around in a fresh pair of glittery socks from Bombas or Maria La Rosa. If you want to follow suit, make sure to find a worthy pair. If you're showing off your socks, they can't be worn in, she says. Can I even think about a holiday sweater without ridicule? Absolutely. Benvenuto has a soft spot for sweaters with snowflakes and reindeers. Her tip, get the largest size for a nonchalant feel and pair it with an elegant black leggings. If Rudolph isn't your vibe, try a more subtle Fair Island pullover or a chunky wool crew in a heritage weave or traditional winter color like evergreen or cream. Refined accessories like diamond studs add a hint of sparkle. I'm inspired and a little intimidated by the tuxedo trend. Any tips? The great thing about suiting is that it comes in parts. You can leave some of them at home. France likes softening the hard edges of a jacket with a camisole and a delicate necklace. A silky pussy bow shirt is another way to go. It has a feminine formality, Benvenuto said, of the style. Personalizing a classic tailor suit will make it feel more unique. When novelist Marlowe puts on a blazer, she likes to apply lotion with a little glitter around her clavicles. When she's feeling extra festive, she buttons up her blazer over bare skin. I always think of when Celine Dion wore a white suit to the 1999 Oscars and she put the jacket on backward. That's what we're going for. I'm hosting the party. How do I take advantage without looking too comfortable? Throwing the party gives you license to do whatever you want, says Hirschfield. A bold matching pant set or silk pajamas paired with kitten heels are easy to throw on while looking instantly polished. There's something about someone in a head to toe set, said Grandiose. It simply says, I care. Another article from the fashion page. Western wear is everywhere. This 160-year-old hat brand is cashing in. Stetson, known for its cowboy hats, has been embracing the American trend for years. Now it's preparing for what comes next. And this is by Sophia Herring. Beyonce, Jeff Bezos, Barbie, and Ken, and the characters on Yellowstone all have one thing in common. In the past few years, they've worn Stetson cowboy hats. Once considered a niche accessory, cowboy hats are popping up across the movies, TV, and music. And Stetson, a 160-year-old brand worn by old timely figures like Ronald Reagan and Frank Sinatra, is seizing the moment. We've started seeing the hats popping up everywhere, says Robert Dunnan, who has been the chief executive of Stetson since 2023. He remembers noting the shift at home in New York's Westchester County. After never showing interest in country western, my teenage kid suddenly wanted a hat. By the end of 2024, Durnan says net sales passed 300 million, up from about 200 million in 2021. It is currently on track for another record year in 2025, and the company said that the young people between the ages of 25 and 34 are their biggest customers. The popularity of Stetson comes at a time when Americana is sweeping the nation. Country music is booming. Tech bros love cowboy boots, and a show about a Western Texas oil company fixer is wildly popular. Enter Stetson, a made in America heritage brand with factories in Texas and a legacy. Founded in 1865, Stetson began as a Philadelphia workshop producing durable hats for ranchers and cowboys. As Stetson grew into the 20th century, the brand core customer base skewed older. Many had worn the hats for decades and viewed them as a heritage gear rather than fashion. And in 2019, the company, which is owned by a family that prefers to remain anonymous, was looking to refresh its image, especially with young people. At that time, the American West was re-emerging in the culture, particularly with the success of Yellowstone, the blockbuster show about a family of ranchers that started in 2018 and spawned several spin-offs. Many of the characters wore Stetson hats. It's a household name that represents authenticity, says Jonetta Boone, the costume designer for the series. Soon, Stetson brought on actor Luke Grimes, who plays Kelsey Dutton in the Yellowstone universe, to star in an ad campaign film and become the face of their men's cologne. We wanted to find someone who would speak to young customers, Dunnan said. It worked. We saw a big lift. Collaboration with the music industry followed. In 2024, Post Malone collaborated with Stetson on a collection of trucker hats tied to the debut of his country album. They sold out within 4 minutes. Beyonce also wore their classic Shasta model at the Grammys and more formally on the album cover for her Cowboy Carter. Across the internet, interest in cowboy hats is high, according to the trend forecasting platform Trendalytics. On TikTok, cowboy hats has over 2.4 billion views. Stetson brands stand out as the key driver of the movement, says Trendalytics chief executive Kate Can. For Justin Sharp, part of the social media subculture of Western influencers who take their followers behind the scenes of rodeos and county fairs, her Stetson has become a status symbol. Sharp, 28, first spotted a Stetson at age 12 on a livestock judge at a county fair in Northern California. 10 years later, she bought her own, and now she has four. Anything that life sends, I'm probably doing it in a Stetson, she says. A Stetson hat typically runs between $150 and $550, depending on the material and the finishes. Each model is made at a factory in Garland, Texas, that's owned by Hatco, which also makes hats for competitors like Resistol. A series of machine cuts and shapes the hats, which are then inspected by hand. Some of the machines are over 70 years old and came from Stetson's first factory in Philadelphia. The company recently bought more equipment to meet the recent increase in demand. It took us until the beginning of 2024 to catch up, says Dunnan. For 22-year-old country singer Timothy Wayne, the nephew of country star Tim McGraw, Stetsons are more than a trend. His grandfather, who died when Wayne was 2, was a truck driver who wore them on the job. The hats are still hanging in memory in his mother's house. He rarely performs without one on. The point is that it lasts, he said. I wear mine year-round and there's not a stitch out of place. Both Wayne and Sharp note that most working cowboys they know in 2025 still wear Stetsons on the job. Most trends eventually go out of style. We've seen big surges before, like in the 80s when the urban cowboy phenomenon, Vernon says, referring to the popular 1980s film starring John Travolta that sparked a cultural wave. We are preparing for an eventual slowdown, and expansion is how we insulate that, he says. In preparation, Stetson is expanding internationally into Latin America as well as with home goods. The company is also broadening merchandise with a larger range of small leather goods, watches, and baseball caps. For this lifestyle component, a growing slate of offerings, including a Stetson's design Airstream trailer on offer for $169,000. A hotel might be next. We want to bring the brand to life, Burnham says. On the Rumble Seat by Dan Neal, an SUV that isn't built like a McMansion. In a segment that favors immense proportions, the handsome Mazda CX-90 is betting that many drivers want something a little less gargantuan. I ask unanimous consent to extend my remarks of last week's regarding three-row SUVs. Several readers wrote to argue that, on balance, minivans offer families a more compelling mix of space, comfort, function, safety, and efficiency. Yes, I love you. Given the redundancy of SUVs in the market, I love to see minivans make a comeback. Also, I said that none of the current players are particularly aesthetic. I overlooked our guest this week, the 2026 Mazda CX-90. This example came to us specifically in Turbo S Premium Plus trim, which is 59,900 tested. And unlike the one in the picture, baptized in a spectacular indigo metallic, and the one in the picture is red. Introduced in 2023 as a three-row version of Mazda CX-70, the CX-90 is Mazda's biggest canvas for its distinctive Kodo design, a seamless flowing surface language privileging complex curvatures over sharp corners, edges, and rays. Compared to the toolbox angularity of its rivals, the CX-90's presentation is sleek, urban, even fancy, with a lot of bright work accentuating the front and rear bumpers, rocker panels, and grille frame. However, due to its origins as a stretch CX-70, the CX-90 measures a bit smaller than most of its three-row rivals in several relevant categories, such as cargo capacity. The Toyota Grand Highlander reviewed last week offers up to 97.5 cubic feet of space with both seats rows folded. The CX-90 can only hold about 75 cubes. Parents who have to wrestle car seats in and out of their vehicle may wish for larger rear door openings. Versions can be ordered with seating for 7 or 8 with a 3-seat third row, but the 3 in the back had better be hobbits. Our CX-90 smallness and fineness continued inside with the intimate cockpit and cabin wrapped in exquisite Napa hides, blonde maple wood trim, polished metals, and textiles chosen for their home country narratives. The console boasts across the dash is covered in a fabric inspired by hand woven with a horizontal band of stitching, a detail inspired by Japanese bookbinding. The Napa leather upholstery comes in a choice of two colors, black and snow white, what Mazda calls Japanese premium. New for 2026, nearly nothing. The CX90 now features Alexa technology. In other ways, the cockpit controls and other landmarks are unchanged, with an array of sturdy physical switches for the climate and vehicle systems, pretty much right where the 2010s left them. The central rotary controller and the software behind it are usable but pretty dated. Realizing that old fashioned in this context isn't the slur to be used. However, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard. The array of powertrains is as before. In the base Turbo Select trim, the CX90 is propelled by a hybrid assisted 3.3-liter inline six-gas engine, 8-speed transmission, and permanent all-wheel drive. The Turbo S models like our juiced up bit, but otherwise the same, is 319 to 340 HP, depending on the fuel grade. Mazda also sells a plug-in hybrid PHEV version based around a 2.5-liter Turbo 4, but the EV only range is an unhelpful 26 miles. After the battery stores are depleted, average fuel economy falls to 26 miles per gallon. I know people are chapped about start and stop systems, which cycle engines off and on when the vehicle's not moving in order to save fuel. For stop and start cycling to be transparent, as it is in CX90, the system needs two things: high voltage and low reverberation. The CX90's 48V starter generator has the oomph of 16.6 to relight the engine almost instantaneously within a single revolution of the crankshaft. Meanwhile, inline six engines are famous for the inherently low vibration. Just ask Packard. Mazda cites two net output figures, one with regular gasoline, 87 octane, and the other with premium, 93 octane. Turbo S models output 319 horsepower on regular gas and 340 horsepower on premium. Those who want the ultimate power, be prepared to pay the ultimate price, roughly 25 to 30% more for fuel, depending on where you live. At just 5,000 pounds, the 16 powered CX90 carries a non trivial heft into corners. It manages its own mass well due to a very grown up chassis, a double wishbone design in front and rear multi-links, and what the company calls kinetic posture control, an anti-roll system that keeps the CX90 surprisingly level in corners and turns. The big and bold 21-inch tires make a bit of noise, but they are agreeably sure-footed. Mazda's full-time all-wheel drive system answers to the MI drive paddle switch in the center console, providing separate drive modes for sport, off-road, and towing. Standard models have a 3,500-pound towing rating. High output versions can tow up to 5,000 pounds. Most automakers have pursued a bigger is better approach to the U.S. SUV segment. Some of them, Subaru for example, with the Accent, as well as Toyota with the Grand Highlander, built the vehicular equivalent of McMansions, offering a bulk space few families will ever fully occupy. The CX-90 steps away from the brink of immensity, which I think is a good thing. However, Mazda's stateside marketeers seem aware that their biggest SUV still looks a bit of kind of dinky. Our test car included a long list of niceties that raise the CX-90's competitive game. The Turbo S Premium Plus spec spring with its mid-row captain's chair, which are heated and ventilated with three-zone climate control and third-row HVAC vents, powered panoramic sunroof, head-up display, embedded navigation, and voice audio with 12 speakers. The package also rolls in of Mazda's active safety systems. I found the rear cross-traffic alert particularly useful since the CX-90's rear outward visibility is pretty limited. Speaking of limited, the fuel economy. Our example averaged a steady 25 miles per gallon during my week of driving, thus the mild part of the mild hybrid formulation. Also, while the 8-speed automatic transmission may feel more familiar, it can't match a CVT's overall efficiency. The CX-90 presents itself as counter-programming, if not a protest vote. Where others in the segment are biggish, it is smallish. Where others sharpen a cutting edge of technology, the CX-90 curates legacy. Most families' SUV interiors are bereft of narratives. The CX-90's fitting are worthy of their own HBO miniseries. I may not fully agree with some of the choices here, but I second the emotion. You are listening to the reading of articles and features from Off Duty from the Wall Street Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. From the Off Duty travel page, room, board, adrenaline, the rise of the all-exclusive adventure resort. Many travelers crave outdoorsy adventures, but not the headache of planning a complex hike or fishing trip. Solutions. These hotels where activities are folded into the price. And this is by Emily Pennington. Chris Levinson was skeptical when she stepped off a tiny bush plane and into the vast Canadian backcountry that surrounds Claygot Wilderness Lodge, an all-inclusive resort. She'd been burned before. The Los Angeles-based television writer, who travels frequently with her family of four, had recently experienced an astronomical disappointment in an all-exclusive ranch in Montana. She half expected to suffer through another week of lackluster group excursions and awkward small talk. But something clicked on the third day as she sat, a steaming mug of coffee in hand, on a small whale-watching boat motoring across the foggy Claycott Sound. With her next meal already planned by the lodge chef and exciting excursion pre-booked by its concierge, Levinson saw the virtues of this resort's low-stress approach to outdoor adventure. I remember being in that fog and thinking that I don't have to approach everything at the same pace or with the same anxiety level, she said. During their week at Claygot, Lewinson and her family relaxed into an experience that allowed them to try out new activities at will. The foursome bonded over a frigid river plunge on a canoeing excursion and munched on homemade bliss balls, a snack made from oats, honey, and dates. They also enjoyed mountain biking and hiking along the fjords of Vancouver Island. For many people, all-inclusive connotes sugary cocktails, forced socializing, and buffet-style dining. but fully inclusive adventure resorts are on the rise across the globe too. Instead of all you can drink wristbands, they offer adrenaline stoking activities like fly fishing, canoeing, snorkeling, and rafting in between multi course meals and happy hours. Levinson liked that after paying the lodge's all inclusive rate, Rainforest Deluxe tents started at $2,527 a night for double occupancy. Her family didn't have to make any more should we or shouldn't we financial decisions. Jim Manley, owner of the ranch at Rock Creek in Montana, says he wanted to create a place where adults could feel like kids again. After a lifelong obsession with cowboy movies and Wild West culture, he spent 20 years looking for a property where he might help others tap into the same wonder. Back in 2010, when the ranch opened, no luxury all inclusive category existed, he recalls. He figured he could attract guests with the sheer volume of things to do. How do adults like to play? Well, if it's fully inclusive and they've paid for everything and there's 40 activities, they go nuts. The amount of men and women in their 50s and 60s that go nuts over paintball is unbelievable. For rates starting at $2,300 a night, guests also get access to guided fly fishing, cycling, trap shooting, and naturalist-led walks. Remote, all-inclusive retreats have experienced a surge in popularity since the COVID-19 pandemic reignited many travelers' passion for the outdoors. We took some trips to Sequoia and Yosemite and enjoyed it immensely, but we are looking for more of a blend of vacation and outdoors, said Lonnie, an attorney in California. His ideal trip would be cushier than those national park tours and combine active outdoor excursions with relaxed cabin time. Colorado's Sea Lazy U Ranch, an all-inclusive setup on a 8,500-acre expanse of the Rocky Mountain foothills, fit the bill. Lonnie loved that he and his kids could try out mountain biking, horseback riding, and not be concerned about wasting money if a child didn't like a particular activity. In remote locations, lodges often offer all inclusive packages because of the lack of other restaurant or amenities nearby. At Western Australia's Salis Nigaglu Reef, set beside the Indian Ocean's aquamarine waters, the nightly rate starts at about $520 per person, but also covers snorkeling expeditions, kayaking excursions along the reef, and guided stargazing quests. Costa Rica's Pacara Lodge is so remote that visitors must arrive via whitewater raft by air or a rutted four-wheel drive only road. Once on the protective 840-acre property, though, travelers spend their days bird watching, zip lining, hiking through the rainforest. To get to Denali's Backcountry Lodge in Alaska, guests take a helicopter. Long days under the midnight sun, the lodge closes outside of the summer months, can be spent on rugged off-trail treks and mountain bike trails. Among the many included amenities, bear spray. From the food and drink page, where a Londoner's with amazing taste is shopping now. Lily O'Brien's Little London Jam Shop has gained an international following. Her neighborhood shopping guide is full of food, drink, and design items you'll want to get right now or pick up online if you're not crossing the pond anytime soon. And this is by Megan Carbon. For the last 12 years, Lily O'Brien has run London's Borough of Jam out of a tiny jar-lined shop between a jerk chicken stand and a fashion designer on Chatsworth Road in Hackney's Clapton neighborhood. O'Brien's never overly sweet jams feel familiar, but always with some intrigue. Generous hunks of vanilla bean dot her lemon marmalade. Bay leaf infuses her blackberry jam. After moving to the UK, the Australian found her culinary footing in the pastry kitchen at the legendary St. John restaurant. She started London Borough of Jam in her home. Raspberry jam with licorice was the first offering. Today, O'Brien distributes around the world. Stateside shop London Borough of Jam's U.S. retail site. She also travels to give lessons in jam making, including a recent month-long tenure in Japan. This year, O'Brien and her husband moved to a house on the coast. The property's large garden was irresistible, but every week she's back in Clapton to keep tabs on her shop and do some shopping of her own. We followed her around for a day to pick up tips on her go-to local retailers with a few breaks for refreshment. For holiday gift ideas, you could hardly do better. 9:30 a.m. Always first thing is coffee at Fink's Chat. I get a flat white. While I'm also there, I pick up a loaf of their wholemeal sourdough for my toast in the cedar patchouli hand cream from Austin, a organic UK brand. At 10 o'clock, my friend Pip Hartle has a cute ceramic studio at the back of her garden with lots of natural light and a wood burner, so it is lovely to visit in the winter. I like her rimmed bowls for breakfast or a light lunch. It's just the perfect shape. At 11:30 a.m., around the corner from my shop is El Pichier at 56, a deli that's been there for years. It's really good for bits, like when you're in need of a saffron or pasta or tomato sauce. The owner, Remy, is from France and he brings over a lot of stuff. I get some tarragon mustard made by Edmund Follett and a bag of pasta. Magda, the manager, helps me with goat cheese wrapped in a fig leaf. They've got a really great wine selection too. I grab a bottle of something French. At 12 p.m., back at London's Borough of Jam, I spread some of that cheese all over the bread I bought, along with some jam. I've been having my Demison and black pepper lately. It's sweet and savory, and the mandarin and cherry in my porridge. I brewed some soba cha from my friend Meiko. I always have Japanese teas from her company, Sabito, in the shop. 6 or 7 years ago, I wanted to redo the inside of the shop, but not too flashy or whatever. My husband, Marcus, is a designer, suggested Michael Marriott, a designer friend. I didn't think he'd want to. He's quite sought after. But he said yes. I just said, do whatever you want, because I know whatever he does would be amazing. A lot of it's reclaimed stuff, and he put really cool metal shelvings up to make a jam wall. When he finished, I cried. I was so happy. At Michael's online shop, wood, metal, plastic, he sells his pepper mill, the Atlantis. We call it the Bolt because it's shaped like one. It's the best pepper mill I've ever had. At 1 p.m., between helping people in the shop, I placed some orders online for the holidays. I like to get a Christmas ham from Coombs Head Farm in Cornwall. Last year I scored it one way and then the other, kind of a diamond thing. Studded it with cloves, sprinkled on brown sugar, and roasted it quite slow. This year I also ordered cacchino and hog's pudding to have in for New Year's when you don't want to do anything. I ordered a case from natural wine importer Giorgio Wines. I included a couple bottles for Christmas Day that are a bit more posh than we usually order, and a couple from Jerome when where I can always get because they're just beautiful. Easy drinking, lots of flavor. I'm terrible these days. I hardly go to shops outside the neighborhood, but I do like clothes that are bright and blocky, and LF Markey does great workwear, which you can get online as well as at their East London shop. 2:30 p.m. I sneak over to Leo's restaurant and bar before it closes for the afternoon for some tiramisu. It's really light and not too sweet. Years and years ago, I think the space was an ice creamery. It also has a real retro feeling to it, with original wood panel walls, and they've accentuated with the 1970s Italian looking leather chairs. When we lived in the neighborhood, we often went for breakfast or lunch. Marcus loves the fried eggs, chips, and prosciutto, fancy ham and eggs. And then there's a lasagna that's just like, oh, full on. Enjoy your time in England. You've been listening to reading and articles and features from Saturday, Sunday, December 13th, 14th issue of Off Duty from the Wall Street Journal. We read from Off Duty every Saturday at 6 p.m. Your reader has been Patricia Mary. Thank you for listening. God bless and be safe and warm out there. Thank you.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have Harper's Magazine. At 8 o'clock, we have Sports Illustrated. At 9 o'clock, we have The Athletic, a section of the New York Times. Stay with us for these readings and more through the rest of the evening. Are you facing challenges with vision loss and need help with your smartphone, sending emails, navigating the internet, and staying connected with your family? VIA, Visually Impaired Advancement, is offering free classes for seniors weekly at multiple locations with free assistance for your smartphone, email, and internet skills. There's a new session every week, and it rotates between the South Towns and the North Towns. It's at your local Erie County libraries and at 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. For more information, call Elhana Porter at 716-888-4632. Again, that's 716-888-4632. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision,